crazy question they're asking me. This is the craziest party that could ever be. Don't turn on the lights, cause I don't wanna see. Mama told me not to come. Mama told me not to come. That ain't the way that fun down. Open up the window.
The peacetime war movie, a time-honored tradition. For some reason, both Tony and Ridley Scott made one, and they both had Viggo Mortensen in them. Tony's was more personal, but his films usually are. His is about a nuclear submarine on its way to maybe obliterate Russia. Gene Hackman plays Tony Scott down to the red hat, and the idea of filmmaking as warfare certainly fits everything we know about Scott's image and personality. Denzel's here, and man, watching them snap at each other, Denzel doing the do I look upset thing that he does so well, it's great. It supersedes everything else. The submarine action is never as good as watching Gene Hackman and Denzel at each other's throats.
All I'm saying, Captain, is that we have backup. Now it's our duty not to launch until we can confirm.
You're presuming that we have other submarines out there ready to launch. But as captain, I must assume that our submarines could have been taken out by other Akulas. We can play these games all night, Mr. Hunter, but I don't have the luxury of your presumptions.
Sir.
Mr. Hunter, we have rules that are not open to interpretation, personal intuition, gut feelings, hairs on the back of your neck, little devils or angels sitting on your shoulders.
Captain.
We're all very well aware of what our orders are and what those orders mean. They come down from our commander-in-chief. They contain no ambiguity.
Captain.
Mr. Hunter, I've made a decision. I'm captain of this boat. Now shut the fuck up!
Denzel's the moral core of the movie, the odd man against everything, so he's playing himself being directed by Tony Scott, and man, they just got each other. Despite his stand-in constantly getting in his way, Tony largely got out of Denzel's way and let him do his thing. Scott was on the verge of a stylistic breakthrough / meltdown that finally allowed him to be his true self. Crimson Tide is kind of a long arc look at Scott's career, because it begins with TV footage, becomes a kind of expected dust-covered combat drama, even name-checks the other films in this school.
Hardy Cougar.
No way.
Robert Shaw is Nazi period.
Flushing was invalid. We're even.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thanks.
Good. Address me as sir when you speak to me! Stand at attention, sailor! Is he gonna fit in the sub?
Doubtful.
Who played the German sub commander in The Enemy Below with Robert Mitchum? Was it Kurt Jurgens or Hardy Kruger?
Sir.
Wrong answer! Drop down and give me 20! Now! Move! Move! 1, 2...
And then halfway through, out comes the expressive colors, macho tension, and Dutch tilts.
Kill you. You're the only one who knows the combination. However, Petty Officer Hilaire doesn't know the combination. Millions of lives at stake here, Peter. Don't make a dumb decision. 1, 2, sir!
Tony was bursting at the seams to get weird. He wasn't there yet, but he was feeling out just how wild he could get in Hollywood, aesthetically speaking. Quentin Tarantino was on hand to punch up the movie, which is funny because every time Hollywood mega sex machine Denzel Washington starts talking about Star Trek and Silver Surfer, the movie just grinds the fuck to a halt.
We have to know whether or not our order to launch has been recalled or not. The only way we're gonna know is if you fix that radio. You understand me?
Yes, sir.
You ever watch Star Trek? Star Trek, you know, Star Trek and USS Enterprise, though. All right, you remember when the Klingons were gonna blow up the Enterprise and Captain Kirk calls down to Scotty, he says, Scotty, I gotta have more power.
He needs more warp speed.
Warp speed, exactly. Yeah. Well, I'm Captain Kirk, you're Scotty, I need more power. I'm telling you, if you do not get this radio up, 1 billion people are gonna die. Now, it's all up to you. I know that's a shitty deal, but you got it. Can you handle it?
Like, yeah, I absolutely believe that a career naval officer who looks like Denzel fucking Washington spends his youth memorizing Star Trek facts. Give me a fucking break. The real spectacle is Hackman v. Denzel, as I said, because none of the superpowers fired a shot of consequence during the 90s. We basically sat on our asses during various humanitarian crises. It's what we're very good at. We got a zillion movies about disillusioned vets during this time, while the U.S. Army didn't suffer major casualties. It's kind of funny. Liberal Hollywood just cranking out movies about deranged generals with their fingers on the button while a Democrat was in office. G.I. Jane is just as conventional in its way as Crimson Tide. The classic rock soundtrack and the bad jokes and the grunt bonding. It's pretty gay, I'll give it that, but as always with Ridley, I can't help but ask, could it stand to be a little gayer? I think so in this case, especially because we almost had a real lesbian icon here in Demi Moore's Shaved Private. That's fundamentally the difference between Tony and Ridley, I think. Tony was more aware of the unilateral hot potential of all things. Ridley wanted things beautiful, which is different. My theory with this one is that he saw what David Fincher did to Sigourney Weaver in Alien 3 and wanted an excuse to do it himself, because it's a great idea. So we got these lovely Raphaelite images of Moore ripped and showering, because he's caught between worship and objectification, and also he's got the male gaze and the classic rock, so it never becomes anything. It just kind of steams. It's like the training program Moore is in. The ammo's not real. It's all just an exercise.
Somebody got a problem with my organizational skills.
Fine by me, Master Chief.
No problem here, Master Chief.
Stand by, your boats. Prepare to hit the surf.
Boat 4, answer me this. When I see the sea once more, will the sea have seen or not seen me?
Not that Moore isn't great. She does quite convincing work, as she always did. If we take Crimson Tide and G.I. Jane, we kind of get the direction that we were led to by the current of both real war coverage, and war movies. It took a decade of a movie star in office, and movie stars co-opting our losses and turning them to victories, but it only took 15 years for us to see the Grammar of Apocalypse Now, granted not the most discerning and careful of war movies to begin with, turned into unequivocal, hoorah, pro-government tract. There are feints towards criticism in all these movies, but they end with the moral order restored. The point that there is a right way for the branches of the military to operate, and they should be in operation even if there's room for change, is inherently conservative. Like Crimson Tide, G.I. Jane finds Scott frustrated with his toolkit. Just look at the way he shakes the camera during combat scenes.
Come on, come on, come on.
Like Tony, he was looking for new words, and he wouldn't direct again until he found them.
Stay down! Stay